Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see everyone this morning.
It is good to see everybody. I wish we could hear you out there.
Yes,
That
that would make it even better.
would make it even better, yes. And I'm sorry, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. It just jumped there, I guess. Anyway, it's going to be a very full, busy week. We have lots of things going on at church this week. Um, like meetings tonight, meetings, choir tomorrow night, bell practice on Wednesday and
Bible study on Thursday.
a Bible study on Tuesday,
Yes,
also at church.
the
Um,
exercise class, and I mean, there's things happening at our place.
there's things happening inside those doors. Yes, there is, and outside those doors. And not the least of which, we have the big International Women's Day celebration that will be happening on Friday. So please join us at church at 6:00. We will start eating shortly thereafter, but hopefully everybody will be eating by 6:30. Um, and I'm heading to the store in a couple of days to get all the stuff for everybody to eat. We'll be having chicken salad and some veggies and some fruit, cookie, and it will give us the energy boost that we need when we go upstairs to the sanctuary for an incredible program. We have speakers coming from the Missouri Conference. We will be honored to have our district superintendent, David Gilmore, and Amy Thompson, also from the conference office. There'll be a special event happening at the beginning that will be interactive. We will have a march to help us understand what it was about International Women's Day and Women's History Month. We have two awesome people coming to present a medley, piano and violin duet, which will be fantastic. We'll be hearing from Hillcrest Transitional Housing. And then there's another interactive singing opportunity, which will be very fun. And we will be honoring one of our preschool leaders who has been with us for, I think it's 20 years. And then we'll end with another song. So you can see it's jam-packed and we are excited about it. This is Good Morning, Donna.
Hey, good morning, Donna. Good to see you there.
And Donna's going to be entertaining us with some piano music. She's going to tickle those ivories for us while we are gathering in Fellowship Hall. So that will be wonderful. Good morning, Karen Strive. Glad to see that you are with us as well. And Scott.
Scott's
good
there.
Morning. Good morning.
Hope you're feeling better, Scott, and get well soon.
That COVID stuff is no fun. Absolutely no fun.
But you were talking about marching, and I'm thinking to myself, throughout history, women have marched. We have struggled and fought to make our voices heard. And you can look back through the Bible, women struggled to make themselves heard. One of the earliest ones that I can remember the story of is Esther. Esther found a way to make herself heard. She didn't, march down the streets or anything like that, but she found a way to make her point. And so women over time, over the centuries, have been strong leaders for and to advocate for themselves and their families and communities.
And we will keep on doing it
Yep.
until the world gets it right.
And I don't know that there's ever any perfection, because it's a constant piece of work. Our lives are something we have to work at and to get where we know we need to be.
Yes. It's like what we talk about inclusion, and we talk about equity, and the between men and women, it's not a pie, because they get more, we shouldn't get less. And
Yes.
if we get more, they don't get less.
Well, and everybody gets more. That's the whole point about it. It's there for everyone to pick up and to use. And it's kind of like being on the roundabout. If we talked about on Sunday, where you can get off but then get back on. Just because you had to step out for a while doesn't mean you can't get back in the circle again. The circle of life, as the Lion King talks about.
Yes, and I love that movie. Love that movie.
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree with what Pastor Lydia said yesterday. Roundabouts are confusing.
I can remember we were in Washington on vacation one time. We had our big, huge travel trailer, and we're not that. It was one of our first trips, so we weren't all that practiced at towing it and all that stuff. So we'd had many adventures, and we come up on this roundabout with a 38-foot travel trailer and a big long truck. I'm telling you, it was interesting getting around that roundabout, and I thought about that as Pastor Lydia was talking yesterday. Your kitties are rearranging soon.
Yes, that bang was one of the kitties. Tipped over the door stopper.
But I mean, it is scary. It's scary to be on a roundabout, whether you're towing a travel trailer or whether you're in a single car, whether you've been on them before. Every new one is what's the secret to this one? I think of the one out on 7 Highway down by the ammunition plant. And I think to myself, every time I come up on that, I don't know that everybody else isn't as scared as I am. So I have to watch out for everyone else.
Yeah, that's exactly, because people are coming at you from every different direction. And the 2 lanes make it really, really tough.
Well, it took me like 3 times going through it, to realize what lane I had to be in and where I needed to get off. And really, this was straight through, but it was kind of around. And and if you miss it the first time about a roundabout, you can go back and catch it the second time.
Yes, you can roundabout it again.
And that's the positive thing about roundabouts, because if you're on a freeway and you miss your exit, you have to get off, come back, go back, come back, and go down again. And maybe you get it the second time, maybe not. But if somebody cuts you off and you can't get on your exit. So in some ways, the roundabout is better.
Yeah, because it's a shorter distance.
It gives you more opportunities to get it right.
Yeah. So out in Hays, Kansas, I grew up 23 miles north of there. They put in, on a very, very busy 4-lane street, divider in the middle, they put in a double roundabout. Have you ever encountered a double roundabout? It's like a figure 8.
Wow.
And oh my goodness, you talk about scary. It's supposed to be easier and make it safer, because there are trucks, there are big rigs on that road. It's supposed to be safer. To me, it seems it's just wrong. That whole thing is Just,
Going out to my daughter's, sometimes I take a backer road, and it has 3 roundabouts on it. And they're all at school zones, and I think they're meant to have people, oh my goodness, I really need to slow down because I don't know what to do with this roundabout. Or if you need to get off to pick up your kids, or school buses entering off and on. I mean, there's a lot going on these roundabouts because they're all in school zones. And I think to myself, I hope it's been good for the school zones, and that there's been
yeah,
less, accidents and injuries and things. So I think they're well intentioned. I'm not sure that
I
I agree.
yeah, yeah. And I have to throw this in because Pastor Ross always reminds us to turn our headlights on. If you're going through a roundabout, or if you're any place and you're confused about the exit, or where you're supposed to be, if people don't have their headlights on, it's a double whammy. It's so difficult. So anyway, we all need to have enough light, and that feeling of being safe and secure.
And if
It's
and if someone would just use their blinkers, I would really appreciate some people using their blinkers to let me
but,
know their intentions.
but Debbie, don't you know that not all cars have blinkers, right?
No,
Because
no, I don't
yeah,
know.
well, they that must be the story, because so many cars don't use those. They don't. Yeah.
I just
Anyway,
I just get I just like a clue once in a while. Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a clue.
oh gosh.
And I think
Well,
that kind of leads us into some of our talk today, where we talk about watching for God's intentions, watching, and letting people know how we feel about them, how that we care about them. I just think that there are so many ways that we don't always use our blinkers, in not just in our cars, but in
that,
our lives, and we can't wait to let people know we care.
yeah, because we hurry up. We're always in a hurry. We need to slow down and just be in the moment. There was a devotion that I read, and it was talking about the full moon that we had several weeks ago at the beginning of Lent. And it referred to a song that was completely unfamiliar to me. It is Lord Jesus, You Shall Be My Song, not in the Methodist hymnal. But it was talking about the light of the moon is a reflection of the sun. And we know that. So when the moon is fully facing the sun, it illuminates the darkness. And the second verse of the hymn is like, this is how it reads: May all of my joy be a faithful reflection of you. May the earth and the sea and the sky join my song. And then here's what it said about that. What I love about the light of the moon, and this is beautiful, its brilliance is not reliant on the moon's ability to produce energy. The only thing the moon has to do is face the sun. Think about that. The moon, just by facing the sun, gains energy. And so my thought immediately went to well, so do we. So when we face God, we face God's face, his son, the S-O-N, not the S-U-N. And we too gain energy just by being in his presence. God's unconditional love was demonstrated to us through the cross and the resurrection of Jesus. When I think about Jesus dying on the cross, the resurrection, I know in my heart that it's true. But my head just still, how do I get my head around the fact that Jesus died for me, died for us, for our sins?
And that we're wiped clean. I think that's an even bigger concept. People keep carrying around their burdens of guilt and shame, and it dims your light when you carry those around, those burdens around. We've been wiped clean. Not that we can't, I'm not encouraging everybody to just run out and commit more sin, but I'm just saying that we have to unburden ourselves, turn it over to him, because he's already paid the price. And I don't think we honor him enough to live our lives fully without the shame and the guilt. Shame, guilt, and fear are, I think, the three things that the devil, the trinity of the devil, that he puts out there and we walk into every day. Shame, guilt, and fear, all closely related, and all things that we are burdened with because we just can't toss it all off and walk forward with confidence.
And that dulls our light
Mm-hmm.
when we have fear and guilt and shame, and it the brilliance that we get, that radiance that we get from just being in his presence.
And women in particular, I think, are prone to those kinds of things. We've been made to think that we are responsible for everyone and that we carry around all of that. And that's part of the roundabout thing. We get on that roundabout of shame, guilt, and fear, and we're afraid to get off because, man, it might get worse. Not realizing that it might get better because we have stepped out on faith.
It just might. And that leads right in, when you were talking about fear, leads into the fourth verse of this song that I don't know, but I love the words. I fear in the dark and the doubt of my journey, but courage will come with the sound of your steps by my side. We all have fears. There's dark or unknown parts for all of us in this life journey that we're on. What do we do about it? How do we get off of that roundabout that keeps us going in the circle?
Sometimes, and I've had experiences that I'm sure you have too, Sue, and many others, where I have been so afraid, but then once I gather my courage and I gather my faith and I just step out, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing if I'm going to be successful, not knowing if I'm going to be able to do it, but you step out and the next thing you know, you've done it, and it's liberating. The freedom that comes from tossing off your shame, guilt, and fear, and you've stepped out into some new experience that has taken you to another level. And I think that's where we all are seeking, that next level of peace, love, and joy.
When we step out in faith.
Yes.
I heard that so many times when I was growing up and in the youth group at church. You just step out in faith. That was like when we were trying to convince our friends to come to our church youth group, and we'll go to yours, but it was hard.
Yes.
It was hard.
That first step, it feels like you're jumping off of a cliff. To take on the truly meaningful things, when you take that first step, it feels like you're leaping out into air and there's nothing there. And then you come out on the other side and you're not quite sure how you got there. You're going, okay, I did it. Can I do it again?
Let's go try it again.
Yeah.
Oh, so when we're facing God, facing the Son, S-O-N, that's where we get our light. That's where we get where we get our energy. That's where we get the strength. That's where we get revived. And that brilliance that we get from being part of the church, part of God's word, sharing. Uh-oh, the sun just hit me.
Take a leap. Take a leap.
Well, I think I better close that because I can't see. Okay. Wow. So there's two Bible verses that I want to share. One is John 1, verse 5. This then is the message which we have heard of him and declare unto you, that God is light, and in him no darkness at all.
I remember there's a song with those words in it.
Yes. And John 4:16, and we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Those are some pretty powerful words. Facing God, that, what does that mean to us? Well, it means what Debbie and I keep repeating. We keep saying almost every week. It means praying. It means reading the Bible. It means helping others, those random acts of kindness.
Participating in a community of faith so that we can lift each other up.
Absolutely.
John 4:16 reminds me a bit of the 91st Psalm that talks about God being the shelter and refuge, and we live within that, and in the presence of the Most High. And the words of the 91st Psalm touch my soul. I've been in really low places sometimes, and that Psalm lets me know that I have no place that I can be that he isn't my shelter and refuge. And this is what this verse kind of is saying too, in a different kind of a way.
Yeah, it does. And that reference was also with this one with John 4:16. So yesterday, I really liked Pastor Lydia's example of the cracked and broken sink and the pieces of the broken clay pots. There's some things you can't put back together exactly like they were. And sometimes we don't want to put them back together exactly like they were. And maybe when some things seem a little cracked or a little fractured in our lives, that's God's way of nudging us to take a different path. Get in the right lane in the roundabout. Could be. And it might be a time for us to be brave and take that leap of faith. Get out of that hamster wheel and listen to what God is saying to us. Maybe he's trying to show us a different way, a different way of serving him, and how that will affect our lives and how we can bless somebody else.
Well, in the circle, a roundabout is a circle, and the imagery of the circle is it's unending. Kind of like it's an unending place. We can be safe in our roundabout, but maybe we don't grow in the roundabout. But if you keep circling back into your community of faith, into prayer, into reading your Bible, finding your way within the circle, and that gives you courage to step out. If you keep repeating some of these things, sometimes you have to repeat them a lot in order to feel good about leaving the circle and creating maybe another circle.
We have to leave our, so to speak, our safe space. Maybe the safe space in the roundabout is the center where the cars aren't driving. I don't know. But it isn't easy.
No.
It isn't easy. Just like when Debbie and I started doing Monday coffee hour blessings, it was a leap of faith. We both like to talk, so we thought, well,
God had gifted us with a few things.
yeah,
We had the tools, but we just not sure how to quite use them.
not sure how to use those. Oh, and that's a perfect lead in to the next thing that I wanted to share. Yesterday, we sang Change My Heart, Oh God, which is a beautiful hymn. And part of those words came from Isaiah 64, verse 8. Change my heart, O God, make it ever true. Change my heart, O God, may I be like you. You are the potter, and I am the clay. Mold me and make me. This is what I pray.
And maybe the center of the circle is God. God is the center of the circle, and he encourages us. That's the potter's wheel. The clay is going around and around on the potter's wheel, the roundabout, getting us ready to face the next challenge and take that leap of faith. Be a pot. Take the chance that we're going to have a crack.
And that's probably where the pot gets cracked.
Yes.
It is those folks that don't have their lights turned on. Yeah.
Or use their blinkers.
Or they don't use their blinkers. Oh.
I wanted to share something today. A friend of mine recently put this out on Facebook, and it says, recently, I learned about a term called a glimmer, which is the opposite of a trigger. We all have those triggers. Glimmers are any moments in your day that bring you joy, happiness, peace, gratitude, or love, making you feel good. The more you look out for them, the more you'll notice, and the fewer triggers you'll encounter. We tend to see what we actively seek. So if we're looking for an exit off of the roundabout, we'll find it if we're looking for it. And if we have maintained the connection with the center of the wheel, which is God, preparing us to be a pot, preparing us to be the sun or the light for someone else to create a new circle.
And the potter, the clay, that being clay, and we are the clay in God's hands, because God is our potter. We must be willing to be moldable, to be pliable, and submissive to what God's plans are for our lives. It's just like, do we see the glimmer, or do we constantly feel the triggers?
Yeah, the pot, when the light shines on it, the pot firms up and becomes a vessel for love, for all the good things, peace, joy, gratitude, happiness. And so the pot is a vessel for all of that. And so I think we want to be the vessel for that in our circle of friends, in our circle of life, in our roundabout.
Absolutely. So how could just acknowledging a problem or a trigger, like being stuck in a roundabout or having those broken pieces of our life, how can that lead us towards a spiritual turnaround? What might that look like?
Well, when the pot is broken, all the water leaks out. And if we have put into our pot good things, love, peace, joy, gratitude, instead of shame, fear, and guilt, then we pour out good things, and it's a beginning again of something new, a rebirth, a chance to be reborn, or to have someone else be reborn because of it.
And we fill our pots with all of the glitters by being involved, being in a Sunday school class, being with each other and learning and studying together, being in Bible study during this Lenten season. It helps us to find courage to face the challenges. And we all have those challenges, whether they're big or whether they're little.
Christ was broken for us. I don't know that being broken is a bad thing. Sometimes we have to be down into the small pieces, and we can start to put ourselves back together again with God's help.
We just have to stop and listen and pray and be in the scriptures and be in the light of God's Son, and let our light shine. Let that illumination reflect through us, that we can help somebody else light their little fire for the day. I think we will get on with our week. We have International Women's Day. Don't forget, come and join us at church Friday night, 6 o'clock. Join us for Lenten Bible study.
On Thursday?
On Thursday. Yep, there we go. It's on your screen. So we look forward to seeing you at some point this week, and we will see you Sunday morning and back here next week. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.